Do you ever feel like, and this might be something subconsciously that you do, that everything people do is somehow about you? And you might not word it that way, but when someone's a little off, a little quiet, a little short, and your brain immediately goes, what did I do? What if it actually has nothing to do with you? Hi, I'm Scarlett Classic, and welcome to Classic Advice, a mental health podcast offering guidance for resilient souls, anchoring calm amid the chaos. Taking things personally, assuming meaning, and what do I mean by that? Assuming that when they are short with you or quiet around you, that you make it about yourself. We fill in the blanks and we usually make ourselves the problem. What did I do wrong? Why did they answer me that way? For example, you walk into work one day and you say hi to everybody, and your work bestie goes, "Morning." They're quiet when they're normally excited to see you, and return with a smile on their face and ask you how your night was and tell you about theirs. Something about them is off. Their tone, the way that they look at you. They might not even say anything. Maybe they do ask the questions like they normally do, but something is off. They don't seem themselves. And your brain goes, they must be mad at me. I must have done something wrong. Something's off between us, and it must be something that I did. And sometimes we don't ask them directly about it, and we ruminate. We replay it in our head about yesterday, what happened, what it was that I possibly could have done, and we come up with this story and this narrative that, oh, they must be mad at me because I did this or that, or we create this whole story off this one moment, and we make it about us. Has that ever happened to you? Have you ever done that? Is this sounding at all familiar? You get a look, you get a tone, and immediately you think it's about you. However, there is a list that is really, really long of possibilities of why they responded that way, why they looked that way. And none of them have to do with you. They could have had a bad sleep. They could have a headache. They could have had a fight with their spouse last night or this morning, right before seeing you. They could be really stressed about their finances or something else personal. Maybe their kid was up all night sick. And they're worried about their kid at home. They're feeling bad that they're not there. They're feeling bad about the fight that they had with their spouse. And then that gave them a headache and a bad sleep. There's a whole list of possibilities. Hundreds of them. And most of them have absolutely nothing to do with you. But our brain makes it about us. When we take everything so personally, it gives us constant stress, constant anxiety, overthinking and overanalyzing everything that leads to emotional exhaustion. and burnout from all that overthinking and anxiety and stress. We're putting things on ourselves, basically, and creating problems where there is none. When we do this, we start living in a world where everything feels like a hit against us. That makes everything so much harder. It makes relationships harder. It creates distance within those relationships. It builds unnecessary tension. You see where I'm going with this? It's creating problems where we don't need to. Why do we do this? It's a natural tendency. I've done it. I used to do this a lot. I think I'd like to think. I think I'm a lot better at not doing this now. We're trying to make sense of things. So it's a natural tendency that we think that it's about us. Maybe it's from past experiences. And walking on eggshells around people and people pleasing and trying our hardest to please everyone around us by making sure that it isn't us. And it's our brain's way of protecting us. But it's not always accurate. It's not always accurate. Instead of assuming, and instead of overthinking, what can we do? How can you today handle this particular thing better? One of the best things we can do is just pause, and when we're having those thoughts, stop, think about your thoughts, and don't react right away. And ask yourself, is this about me? Do I actually know that response is about me? Did they say verbally that it's about me? And if they didn't, then I challenge you to be curious, because of all those multitude of reasons of why it could not be about you. When we're having a bad day, we tend to assume this a lot more, and we don't ask questions and we ruminate. And that's a very dangerous road to go down, because it spirals down fast. If we can stop, catch the thought, think about the thoughts, and pause and not react right away and not ruminate right away, get curious and ask them, hey, are you okay? You seem off this morning or this afternoon. Are you okay? And they might not feel comfortable telling you about what's really going on, but if it's not about you, I would hope that they would tell you so. Because they might not want to open up about the fight about their spouse, if that's what happened, right? Because it's personal. But they could say, oh no, I just had a really bad night. I've got a headache. It's nothing about you. And right there, that burden lifts. You can stop ruminating because they've told you it's not about you. And if it is about you, it's their responsibility to tell you so that you guys can fix the problem. Right? That's how relationships work. None of us are, mind readers. So that communication back and forth in relationships is really key. And being curious and asking questions and checking in on people, instead of just sitting in your own head and ruminating and twirling that around your head all day. That's exhausting. That's the heavy. I don't want to do that. Do you want to do that? Honestly. You don't want to do that. No. So get curious and ask some questions. Because just because you think it doesn't make it true. Stop and think about your thoughts. If this is you, and you tend to take things really personally a lot of the time, then know that you're not alone in this, and that you can shift and you can change. You just have to be courageous, get curious about assumption, and ask some questions. Because, like we tell our kids, if you have them, the world doesn't revolve around them. They need to think outside the box and outside themselves. And we need to do that too. Think outside of ourselves. Think outside the box. It's not always about us. Everything is not always about you. And we might not term it that way. We might not even be consciously aware that we're even doing this. That's why I'm bringing it to your attention today. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing to know that not everything is about you. Give people the benefit of the doubt. Give yourself some peace. Get curious. Ask questions so you can stop ruminating and bring calm from chaos and rumination. Stay anchored. Ask questions. Get curious. Thank you for tuning in to Classic Advice, guidance for resilient souls. May you stay anchored in what steadies you, rise resilient through what challenges you, and carry calm into whatever comes next. Take care. Love ya. Bye.